about so many times. So this is when the idea started cooking in my mind that maybe I should go and spend some time in India and, just see if this is something that I want to focus my life into. So I said to myself, I'll go for 6 months to India and do my teacher training program, yoga teacher training program, and then we'll see what happens from there. And that's when I quit my first job. It was my first ever job. Even though my boss tried to bribe me with a raise and told me that, please stay, you're a fourth wheel for the company and we need you here. It just felt like the right thing to do. And in January 2007, that's when I left for India, thinking I would be there for a few months just to experiment. And it's been 14 years. So this is where I went through a beautiful training process to conduct the inner engineering program, which is Isha's flagship program. And the process of training to become an instructor is phenomenal by itself because it changes you inside out. So it is not just about learning what to say or what to teach. There is something much more profound to this that gives you a foundation for everything in life, not just to stand up and teach a program. And in many ways, this foundation has been a pillar for everything since then for me. And then after my training, I spent 5 years teaching in the UK and in Europe. And then in 2013, that's why I was transitioned to the US. And I was in charge of all the foundation's activities on the West Coast, which is basically from Vancouver in the north down to San Diego. And Arizona and Texas. So today I have the opportunity and privilege to be able to teach this program that has touched me so much, and to witness people's transformation on a day-to-day basis, and also to manage the activities of the regions through thousands of volunteers who are also inspired and motivated to take this message across. It's been phenomenal for me to learn these practices and keep them in my life for myself. But, somewhere there's always that little question in my mind that, am I imagining, all the benefits of these practices because I want it to work? So when you stand at teach, it really shows you that you're not imagining anything because you see things happening to people that are really phenomenal. In the space of 4 days, people's face changes, just because they have access to something within that has always been there, but probably that people never knew how to access. So, yeah, that's where I finish my story.
Journey. Yeah, no, it's so beautiful. Don't let me interrupt you. I'm just wrapped with attention and full of questions, thoughts, feelings.
No, I think this is where I'll stop. I mean, now landing into maybe just a few words about the situation that we're in, because landing into this whole coronavirus situation, it's for many people, it's one of the worst things that they have experienced. So it's really been phenomenal, and I'm really grateful because I can see the kind of struggle that so many people are going through. But it's really been phenomenal to be able to glide through this phase, without any kind of stress and anxiety. And in the foundation, we are doing a lot of work to support those who are struggling through this phase, whether through practices that can help them cope with stress and anxiety, through the inner engineering programs, which are now, they have always been for the last 10 years, they've anyway been available online, but in these circumstances, it becomes all the more relevant. And the foundation is also involved in social outreach initiatives. So there's a lot of outreach efforts also to relieve the populations in India affected by the COVID-19 situation. This is to kind of land in the present time.
Yeah. No, I mean, I call these experiences, you come from where you are today, and by many standards, you would be considered a huge success, right? You travel with Sadhguru, you are teaching all over the world, there's no hierarchy, and yet, you're a leader, and you've come from extraordinary experiences in your past. And, I call these the category 5 experiences. And, I'm a 2-time Category 5 hurricane survivor, which is what I write about in my book that's coming out next month. And, it's that these are the things that we learn to ride. Sadhguru was just talking about that today in a post I saw about tsunamis. To a surfer are a dream come true, and we just have to learn to ride them. And you using your past experiences to lift you into asking these questions without having to spend a lot of time out in the world doing a bunch of jobs you hate, or a bunch of failed relationships. You could just go right to the heart of it because you know how precious life is. And there's something that's been different about, believe it or not, I don't think I told you this before, but I was a yoga teacher 20 years ago. I've done the teacher's training in my discipline, and was a regular practitioner and loved the practice. And I saw it in its, at that time, my awareness was such that it was a very physically fulfilling activity. I felt that there were some emotional rewards from the practice, and some spiritual as well. I mean, I saw it as a potential for a way of life, but there's a way in which Isha yoga has introduced me to something far different, that it's no longer just a physical practice. And I read something about it. I think it was a quote from Sadhguru that said, the Hatha yoga is an opportunity to change how we think, feel, and view our lives. And could you talk a little bit about that? Because I think that's what people are looking for. We have just a few more minutes, but I'd love to hear your thoughts about what yoga is for you.
Yeah, so I'll try to keep it as brief as possible. Even for me, before I started with Isha, I always thought that yoga means twisting your body into impossible postures, and I think that's the common understanding. But yoga is a complete science. It's basically what Sadhguru refers to as a technology for well-being. So just like there's a user manual to use your phone or whatever device you are using, so just as there's a whole science and technology for our external well-being and our external comfort, there's a whole science and technology for inner well-being. So there is which is yoga, or which what Sadhguru also referred to as inner engineering. And inner engineering is no other than yoga, which is a science that has been there for thousands of years, and which has been, discovered not through research or anything like that, by simply people closing their eyes and looking inwards and understanding how the whole system works, the mechanics of the human body, the human mind, the emotions, and most importantly, the life energy within. So there's a whole system of practices and technologies that you can do to bring your system to a level of vibrancy and health, your mind to a certain level of clarity and sharpness, and your emotions to a certain level of balance and sweetness, and your life energies to a certain level of exuberance and vibrancy, where no matter what you go through in life, you are the master of your destiny, or you are the one who decides how your inner situation is. So this is what yoga is, that it's a powerful technology. It's an inner science, an inner technology that empowers every individual to make the choice as to how they want to be, where our way of being is not decided by external situations. And at least for me personally, this is very, very significant, because looking at the life I've been through, I could easily sit in a corner and cry and make a victim out of myself, that I've been through all these hardships in life. But when I encountered Sadhguru at the age of 21, where I was heading there, I was heading in this place where I thought I was entitled to be angry and frustrated because of all the things I've been through. Suddenly I saw that I have the choice, that how I want to be is in my hands. Not only that, it wasn't only a mental thing. I had tools, I had practices that I could close my eyes, sit and do on a daily basis. Practice that is only 21-minute practice that I could sit and do, and that empowered me on that level in a phenomenal way.
So let's tell our readers, how can they get access to this practice for themselves?
So right now...
I'm sorry, listeners. I said readers. Sorry.
So right now, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, all our in-person programs are on pause, but thankfully inner engineering has been made into an online program over 10 years ago. And through inner engineering, on one hand, it's a very powerful device, especially in this context where we can rise above these challenging times. So inner engineering online is a 7-session online course through which Sadhguru guides each person step by step on a journey of self-exploration and empowering the participants with tools that are sourced from the essence of yogic sciences to bring emotional balance, clarity, fulfillment, joy, and exuberance. And so each class is 90 minutes each, 7 classes or 7 sessions, and every session ends also with a guided meditation. And in addition to that, we offer other simple yogic practices that can be taught online. And right now, in light of the current circumstances, bearing in mind that most people are in economic hardship, we are making the program available at 50% of its fee. We would have wished to offer it for less than that, but there are expenses involved in facilitating the program online. And to all healthcare medical personnel worldwide, we are offering it for free.
Well, that is an extraordinary gift to our listeners and to the world. And I'm so grateful that you were able to take this time. And everybody, don't worry, we're going to bring Maya back next week. And please stay tuned. Come back. We've got more special treats in store for you.
What is being looked forward to from a leader is, he should be able to see things that other people are not able to see. Leadership is not about you asserting yourself over somebody. It is about being able to harness everybody's aspirations and make it happen. So leadership at any level, whether you're running your own business or a state or a nation, 3 basic qualities which sets a leader apart and makes him into a fruitful proposition for everybody around him is his integrity, his ability to inspire people to do the right things, and above all, insight.
And thank you again so much, Maya, for being with us today.
Thank you so much, Christine. It was wonderful speaking to you today.